All right, my friends, welcome to episode 345 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak. How are things this weekend?
Gorgeous up here in Washington State. We finally have summer, and I love it.
Nice. You're not getting those drizzly
Nope.
days every other day? Nice.
Nope. We have reached high 70s for this weekend, and now we're on a extended forecast of just sunshine and clear skies and low 80s for the foreseeable future.
Dang.
So I'm ready. I need it.
You've been ready for the sunshine?
For a little bit. I like my gloom, but I need some sun every once in a while. So
right. Yeah, absolutely. Need the vitamin D from the sun. And just, I remember living in Ukraine, and like it was the first time where we experienced no sun for, it felt like 6 months. It really did. It was probably like 4.5.
Yeah.
And it came out and we just stood in the street in just t-shirts and just stood there. It was cold still, but it was sunny. And we were just like, we look like morons. People thought we were fucking great. So I get that. Down here, sunny as hell. It's not too hot right now, which is nice. We went to the park today, where our daughter's going to do summer camp over the next 2 weeks and just kind of scope it out for her, and felt good. Did a outdoor. This is the craziest fucking thing. I think I put in the Discord. You might have seen it earlier, but did an outdoor gymnastics event, and this woman was really nice and really friendly and introducing herself and talking about the gymnastics group. It's a small little outdoor gymnastics thing that my wife found and our daughter loved. And afterwards, we were talking to her and their family, and my daughter was just like so like unnaturally, in a very happy way, like sociable, and just walked up to them and asked them if she could play with them. And then this mom was just talking to us, and she was super friendly, and we had so much in common. Like we have the same pediatrician and all this stuff. And then she mentions where she works, and I was like, wait a second. And I put two and two together. I'm like, okay, your first name. Okay, you work where I work. All right, are you this person? She was just like her face was like, how the fuck do you know my name? And I was like, well, I told her my name. And she's like, oh my God, what the hell? It was so crazy. Like, I mean, I was wearing a mask and a hat, so it's hard to really see who I was. But we communicate quite a bit over email, but haven't seen each other face to face in several years. And it was just like very mind blowing. It's like one of those small world moments. Very crazy. But we're very happy to have found a nice gymnastics event for our daughter, a weekly thing. Yeah,
nice.
She was super excited. This week we are talking about some odds and ends of just randomly out of the blue. God of War Ragnarok release date got announced, along with an unboxing of their various special editions, the Jotnar, and then the collector's edition, and then some other odds and ends. So why don't we just jump right into God of War? It's coming out on November 9th, 2022, and it's going to be the single cut kind of camera thing that the God of War 2018 was, which is cool. Thor, the character or the voice actor who plays Thor, did an unboxing video with all the super crazy special editions that come with like the Mjolnir replica and a bunch of different physical things and a vinyl record of the songs from the game and such. But I was just surprised that it just seemed, not that it matters anymore, I guess, but it felt like so little fanfare. It was just like, boom, here's the release date.
I kind of feel like they were forced into it in some ways. Like, just with all the reaction, people were like, what's going on with it? Anger, like, and it felt a little bit like, fine, let's just put this out here to quiet everyone down. It's coming, shut up. Like, just shut up.
It almost felt like, and who knows, but behind the scenes where, Sony writ large has like a marketing campaign and a marketing push and different, steps along the way. And Barlog is just like, can you fucking just tell them the release date, because they won't leave my folks alone. Yeah. Which is sad state of affairs. But
it is a sad state of affairs because people are mad about the PlayStation state of play that never happened, that was never announced to happen, but everyone expected to happen, so they're mad that it didn't happen.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
News,
it's
like
so
Jason
dumb.
Schreier saying he heard it's going to be like June 30th or whatever, and everyone took it to mean there was going to be a state of play, and it's like, no, just fuck. They just changed their plans.
It's called a rumor, and they decided not to do it. Or whatever information he was going off of just wasn't right at that point. Like,
right.
it could have been a thing of, at one point they were considering it and decided not too long ago, and you just heard, like, something later. But the fact that people were getting mad about it was just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it's sort of gross. It makes me feel a little bit like a little embarrassed to be one of the people who's excited about this game, because like, you know, the quiet people, they're not hearing from people like me. Like, I don't care when it releases, to be honest. Like, I'll play it whenever it comes out. Are you ever going to get to the 2018 version before this comes out, or is this you already?
I have no clue.
Okay.
Honestly,
it's totally one that you could watch. You know, it lends itself well to watching. If you wanted to get caught up, you know, I don't know if you would even like the gameplay, because it was so intense for both of us when we were playing.
It was intense. Yeah, it's definitely a thing where I could watch through a let's play of it pretty easily.
They have talked about it being a duology, where this is it. This is the end of this story. And you know, this part of the God of War universe. And I don't know if that means that they have the balls to like kill Kratos, and kind of like do a real good story. You know, and then switch to playing Atreus halfway through the game, or I don't know, toward the end playing with someone else. I don't know. I feel like if it really is a duology, and they're like, we're not turning this into a trilogy, we're not continuing this part of the story, like, does Kratos move forward, or are they gonna like let this IP kind of expand beyond Kratos?
I think if they're going to continue it, they need to let it expand. Because it will get old over time. I will be honest, after the first 3, I was pretty much done with Kratos by the end of it. It's like, cool, we're done here. It's like, and they showed that a new developer coming in and taking their own spin on the property and Kratos and the whole thing. They found another story and a different emotional heart to the whole thing, which is great. Different threads, different themes. But at this point, I'm like, okay, this is duology. I think the future would be better if they could find another protagonist to tell a story with, where they could branch this out and make it a franchise that could actually live for decades at that point, because you're willing to tell different stories with different protagonists.
Yeah, I think Horizon is starting to do that, where like the VR game is like someone besides Aloy.
Yep.
You know, and branching that out. I'm just trying to think about God of War. You know, they've got Atreus, whose gameplay is totally different than Kratos's. So if they were trying to, you know, introduce a new protagonist to have to carry on God of War, it would be someone like Atreus who plays differently. So are they like moving? They've built this great gameplay in 2018 that's going to continue here. I can't imagine them walking away from that.
No.
Kind of, I don't know, hand-to-hand, literally visceral combat. But I don't know if, you know, maybe there'll be a new character in this particular game that will carry that mantle forward.
Yeah.
If they drop Kratos. I don't know if they will. It feels like there's
or they just choose to do a straight-up new story. I mean, the mythologies that they've delved into and kind of how they set up the universe of God of War leaves it open for a lot of avenues for a new character. Just telling like, okay, this is in the same universe as God of War, but it is a new protagonist from the Egyptian pantheon.
Yeah.
Go. Like, and it can eventually touch into Kratos' storyline potentially, or aspects of it, but it could become an anthology series pretty easily.
Yeah.
When you think about all the sources they could pull from.
Right.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. At some point, it's nice to know that the franchise lives beyond it having to include a specific character every time.
Yeah, and they've already proven that it can exist without having the same version of that character, right? Like you said with 1, 2, and 3. I just played 3 God of War, and I was done halfway through just that game. Like, this is, I don't know, it's just repetitive, and
it is. Two was probably the best of those. Mm-hmm. 2 was pretty fantastic. 3 overstayed its welcome. I will say that. 2 felt tighter overall. It was a short game, I think, in comparison, but it was also very juvenile. I will say, like, over the top, like, but just in general. The violence, everything with it was just done to such a tongue-in-cheek level that it's like it was a very different tone than 2018 God of War. completely and totally. Like, they tonally changed everything.
Yeah.
So, but again, that helped because Corey Balrog, he just had a different vision for the game. Like, what do you do with this after those 3 games? Like, clearly the franchise had been getting in a rut. Like, you could have made 4th one just be still that tongue-in-cheek, ultra violent, weirdly, like, juvenile sexiness to it. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that would have been fine. I'm sure people would have eaten that up, but clearly he had a different vision of being like, no, I want to tell a different story with this. We can move on and we can grow the character and the world. And that's where I'm like, I feel like they could do that again. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Sony Santa Monica wants to take a break to do other things.
Well, and that's what they said about this. One of the reasons why they wanted to be 2 games is they said, if you do it, if it's 3 games, we're working on the same game in effect for 15, 16 years. And that's just too long for any one, I don't know, creative project, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's hard if they even split it into, like, okay, they have multiple teams. How does it feel to be you're like the person that has to spend 15 or 16 years on this one franchise while other people are starting something new? It's never easy when it comes to that stuff, and I think they choose correctly, like, and especially if they feel like they can tell their story in 2 games.
Right, yeah, why, we, like you said with God of War 3, like, overstay its welcome, perhaps. Don't do that. Like, God of War 2018 was so masterful. I assume this is going to be, on par with that. Not genre, I don't know, redefining like 2018 was, because you've already done that, so you're just building on that. But God of War 2018, I know it's 2018, but we both bounced off it pretty hard early. I didn't come back to it till right when the pandemic started. I was like, all right, well, I'm home. Okay, what I went right back to this, and it was like March, April, May 2020 when I played games at night. This is what I played, and I just got so into it. It was really good. I think now that this is been announced, Ragnarok, and since I'm shifting back towards moving to face-to-face in the next month or so, I've been finishing a lot of things that I started right at the beginning of the pandemic. For some reason, for example, Barack Obama's book. I read half of it in the first couple of months of 2020, and then for some reason, I don't know why, I put it down. So now I'm back to finishing it, and I've been finishing a lot of things I started 2.5 years ago. So I want to go back to God of War 2018. I'm not going to replay it because I think I'd get burned out of the gameplay, but I want to get to platinum because I'm probably 3 or 4 trophies away from the platinum. Okay. So I think that'd be a nice way to revisit it without overstaying my welcome there.
Yeah. I think it might be worthwhile to do. What is it? Kill the Valkyries?
I've done that. Actually.
Okay, find the crows. Is that the one?
Yes,
Ravens?
It's the fucking collectibles. Which when I got to the end, I was like, no. And it's like not doing that. And there's like one fight I have to do in like this. What the fuck was it? Like a roguelike kind of area.
Okay.
So that's about it. I was like, nah, I'm good. Usually when I beat the game, I don't really want to go back. Like Horizon Forbidden West, I probably have 10, 15 trophies. I'm like, I should have done those before I beat the game. So with a game that I'll talk about later, I made sure to clean up almost all the trophies before I pop the game ending trophy.
You cannot actually, I don't think you can get all the trophies in Forbidden West until you've finished the story.
Oh, so
there's a thing that you get at the end of finishing the story that is required for getting to a few areas.
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh.
So there wasn't a much, but I think it was there was a couple collectibles that you could only get once you had the in-game mount.
Yeah.
I think, you only get that at the close to the end. I don't know if you're actually at the end. You might be able to finish it off before doing the final mission, but you're at the final mission.
Right. Yeah, because you've unlocked it right at the end. So I guess you could peel off from the
yes. Go do your things. Story. Finish all those trophies. Finish the story. Get that final trophy. Yes, you could do it that way if you felt like it. Yeah. I did not. I finished the story and then took that mount and cleaned up everything else I needed to do.
I did not. I bounced off it. I was like, Elden Ring, it's calling, and that was fun.
You mentioned vinyls. I was going to tell people here, over on Fangamer, the Astroneer vinyl is finally available. Our soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
It is sold out.
Thanks for telling everybody.
We've been waiting a year and a half for this.
Oh.
So short story about the global vinyl market. There's only a few places that actually press vinyls worldwide.
Oh wow!
And one of those burnt down at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, was that the one in LA that burned down?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
And it backed up vinyl production for everybody.
Wow.
So we've been sitting here waiting for this actually it might be close to 2 years at this point.
Oh my god, what a beautiful cover of this. Holy shit.
It's cool. I get one. So I'm excited to get one.
Oh my god, that is beautiful, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The translucent blue vinyl as well, and art.
Dude.
It's cool. It's really cool. I don't have a vinyl player. I'm not gonna get a vinyl player, but I'll get one of like the vinyl frames where it can even kind of show off the different parts of the thing. Because I feel like this deserves being framed and put on a wall.
You can like explode it out in the frame.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I've seen some stuff where people do that with cool looking vinyls.
Right. Oh man, this looks really cool, dude. Congratulations.
I know. Congrats to our merch team one dude, Joe, our community manager, has been working his ass off to get this thing done.
Nice.
But it finally happened. I can't believe it. So yeah, vinyls, it's a thing. Do you have a record player?
I do not.
I'm like, do I need to get like a USB record player or something?
To play it, maybe.
It's just this isn't the like this. There's this vinyl, but there's actual like a number of cool video game vinyls where I'm like, they just look neat. Like the art on the covers are great. The inserts are great. The actual vinyl records themselves have great patterns, and they're works of art. And I'm like, if I have one, do I need to play it on something? Like, I don't know, and God of War is getting one now. It actually does look pretty cool.
It does,
vinyl.
like the color, the way it looks.
Yeah.
Same thing.
They're works of art. Like the vinyls now, like
exactly.
weirdly, are very much works of art. They're like completely secondary, and when they're made to look nice.
I wonder if the pressing of the vinyl had anything to do with not knowing when the date would be, right?
Yeah.
All that extra, supply chain issues and stuff. Like, there's a bunch of extra physical stuff in all of these things. So who knows?
It's true. It is so true. There's dice. I want the dice.
Yeah. That must mean there's a mini game inside this Rocks dice set. I don't remember there being a dice game.
Oh, you mean inside the actual game itself? Maybe.
In the game itself, yeah. Like Horizon put in one this time. Machine Strike.
That's interesting. I'd be very curious if God of War would do some form of like in-world game. Because it's
Ragnarok, the world's ending, but let's play some dice.
Yes, dice. Or it might just be physical version of something that's in the game of like, Brock has a dice set. You see him fiddle with it.
He throws dice at your head when he's pissed.
Something, yeah. The cloth maps. That's awesome.
Yeah. For an IP that I was like so intimately in love with, that'd be cool. Like a Hollow Knight, Silk map or something like that would be cool. I'm not sure.
That would be cool. A Silk map for Silk Song? Mm.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there you go.
Come on.
The marketing writes itself.
I know.
Song. Give it to me.
It's not happening.
Well, it's heading in the next 12 months, apparently.
It's true. It's a lie. It's all a lie. It's never going to come out. But yeah. That was some interesting news of God of War. I still don't think this isn't the intended way that they were going to announce the release date, but
no.
This is how it happened.
And there's still there will be a state of play. Like, they have not had a big game that they haven't had a state of play for.
Yeah. Well, something shifted. Forspoken got delayed again.
It did again, right?
Till January 2023. So I wonder if that actually was something there going on of being like trying not to release. I mean, that's Square Enix, but it's also for PlayStation 5. So there might have been some juggling of release dates there, of being like, if that's getting delayed, maybe those two games affect each other's release dates in some ways. Yeah. And making the call of delaying Forspoken was like, okay, this is the solid date for Ragnarok now. So,
right. Well, and also, with November 9th was really close to November 11th, which is when Starfield was supposed to come out. So that getting out of the way maybe helped them solidify a date as well.
Yeah.
In the Sony front, I forgot to mention to you beforehand about this news, but remember there were 7 indie games that were announced on the PlayStation blog this week as well. Did you see any of those?
No, I didn't.
I posted one for you in our Discord. Sea of Stars.
Oh, I didn't realize it was from the blog. But I do Sea of Stars.
It looks like the modern Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I'd heard Where did that get announced originally? Was it at a?
I have not heard about it.
State of Play.
Maybe
I had heard of it before, and I'd seen a picture of it because I believe the composer, Sea of Stars, is that the composer is someone who worked on
Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds right.
Oh, and it was a Kickstarter as well. That's probably where I saw it, was actually when it launched a Kickstarter. And yeah, Yasunori Mitsuda did the music for Chrono Trigger, and he does the Chrono Trigger the music for Sea of Stars.
Oh, okay.
So yes, this was very much the spiritual, not even a successor, it's an homage to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, the front of this, they're the ones who did The Messenger, and it says, Sabotage the Studio was founded with a goal in mind, presenting our own definitive editions of the game genres we grew up playing. Combining retro aesthetics and modern design, we shoot for experiences that capture what we loved about games of old while leaving behind the elements we feel may hold them back today.
Yep.
Dude, this thing looks fucking rad.
It does. I'm really excited for whenever it eventually comes out.
Yeah, next year sometime they said. There's a bunch of other games as well, but that's one that stood out. I mean, obviously Cult of the Lamb is one of them as well. But we've already that.
Cult of the Lamb was hilarious.
But yeah, so seven games that they announced, so check that out. I feel like there's just a lot of I don't know. I guess it does the same thing in terms of getting the news out, but just drops on the blog for a lot of news this week.
Yeah. And really I'm like, I don't know how many people actually just show up for Sony's PlayStation blog. I mean, you hope to just hear about it from other places picking it up, because I don't follow these blogs that closely.
I only see it when it pops up on Reddit or whatever. Or the podcasts I listen to.
Man, yeah.
So good stuff.
I wonder if Sea of Stars coming to Switch. Come to Switch, please.
Boy, it sure looks like a Switchy game, doesn't it?
It does.
Although I'll play it anywhere. Although
it does. It says it's coming to Switch.
Okay,
it's coming everywhere.
Please run well. I'm nervous about how well things are gonna run. It should.
I don't see any reason why this pixel art thing would run poorly. It's not going to be a GPU issue, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just an optimization issue, perhaps. But they should. I mean, Messenger. I played Messenger on Switch. It was great. So
yeah, I feel like they have an understanding of the hardware.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Excited for that. That one, Ragnarok. We got some good games going on.
We really do.
Coming out. You had some news you picked up on the game I shall not name.
the Immortal game, Diablo Immortal.
Diablo Immortal, yeah, exactly.
They put out they made 50 million, 49 point something million in the first 30 days, which for everyone complaining on man, this thing is terrible, it takes all your money. Well, it does take all your money, and it makes a lot of money. Oh, clearly.
That's the goal. They want to take your money.
They did, and it's not even out in China, where I'd expect, if that was the case, it would probably be upwards of, add another 30% to that number. Because I was looking, it's still sitting 8th top grossing game in the App Store, iOS App Store right now in the US, and it's number 2 in South Korea on grossing charts. So for everyone who complains that it's aggressive and bad, people still spend a lot of money in it, and that's why this keeps happening. So I hate to say it, but it's true, and I mean it's been happening forever, at least for a decade now. And Candy Crush, as I told you, makes $3.5 to $4 million a day. Crazy. Candy Crush, it's still the number one game on the App Store grossing, right. And it's just
that's been years.
Yeah, that is an absurd amount of money, even at the low end. it's like 1.2 to 1.4 billion dollars a year just on Candy Crush. So, which that's king, right? That's king. So that goes to Activision Blizzard as well.
Well, and that's why they're like, "What? We're doing this with fucking Candy Crush. Why can't we do it with every other property we have?"
Pretty much.
We'd love to make $4 million a day on everything else we do, and spend less to develop it. You know, and it doesn't matter if they continue to develop the games, you know, that fans expect. You know, like Diablo 4, you know, for console or whatever. Like if that's not either pushed back because of this or like shelved because of this, it shouldn't matter. But it is.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's just... I mean, if anything, this makes it so that the Diablo franchise stays alive for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's
true.
That's the thing of it, is it doesn't mean that they'll make Diablo 4 have microtransactions like this, because they're like, no, we have the game that makes microtransactions. That's fine. But it makes shift priorities of being like, well, Diablo Immortal is the primary Diablo. These other things are secondary experiences to keep people invested in the lore and the property.
Right.
It's a different mentality and it's a crazy thing, and I have seen people say that they're like, oh, that's not just you saying it seems low, other people have, and I'm like a decade ago PopCap would have loved something that did that much money. Like, I won't go into specifics or anything, but man, like what we considered a successful game at PopCap was $50 million a year plus.
And this is a month. Yeah.
So there's something to be said there about how much money it is. And I don't think this game cost like $1 billion to make. I bet its budget was probably in the end probably close to like $100 million. So
yeah,
I'm sure by the end of this year that's going to just be profit that they're getting.
Right.
And they'll spend some of that money back into ad revenue, ad buys, and funneling more users into the game.
Because isn't it still beta, or is it like 1.0?
No, it's 1.0.
Oh, okay.
But that's just a normal thing to do, is if you are making enough revenue per user, you take a portion of that and use it to effectively get more users into your game through really just ad buys in other games or other places. Because the more people you get in, you will make profit on that ad buy constantly. Right. So it's just a self-generating money machine to a point.
The snowball is rolling down the hill and it's getting bigger. And when they fire Bobby Kotick, maybe I'll check it out.
No, you really don't need to.
Okay.
I think reading the story would be cool. Like, the story is worth, I think, reading, because the lore of it is interesting for the world of Diablo and everything. Mm-hmm. I think far more interesting than like Diablo 3's story in the end.
Oh my god, that's a low fucking bar.
It is a low bar, but it's actually nice getting back to feeling like, oh, okay, like this is telling a much more compelling story in this world. And you directly saw you can see the lines directly from Diablo 2 to Diablo Immortal and like the story being told. So I think it's worth at least reading, maybe. And I'm sure there'll be a lore video at some point that someone will make. They'll be like, here's what you need to know.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, cool. That's all you need to know, because you don't really need to play it. I don't want to play it anymore. That's
fine. I just need Bobby Kotick to get fired so I can play Diablo 2 remastered then.
Yep, pretty much. That's all I really want.
So
that's really all I want, actually. But yeah, it's doing a thing, and I mostly just highlight it and being like, yeah, mobile games make a lot of money if they're successful. A lot, and they're not going away. People can sit here and be angry, and you see it online about like how terrible the free-to-play stuff is and how it's ruining everything, yet it still makes a ridiculous amount of money, and that's why it's never gone away.
Yep. It's too lucrative. Like you said, after a couple months, you've made your dev costs back, and then the next several years of tail are just profit.
Yeah, and then like you could get games that have clearly insane tails like Candy Crush, which is like 10 years at this point. And this is like, okay, that props up all of King now forever. Right. Like, it's insane. It's all just insane. But this is why all the big publishers always attempt to do it, because one success in the mobile market props things up for a long time.
I like how Nintendo tried mobile stuff, and they're like, yeah,
it's fine. I still wanted my mobile Zelda of some sort.
I know, they just gave the fuck up on it all. Oh, whatever.
They really did. I mean, they never had anything I think that actually made a ton of money.
I thought Dragalia Lost was like the best, or maybe Heroes.
I think
Fire Emblem Heroes.
It's Fire, and I think Fire Emblem's Heroes is still going.
It is, yeah.
But Dragalia they stopped. Dragalia probably made them a fair amount. I played a lot of Dragalia when I was commuting.
Yeah,
it was a silly, fun game. Yeah, but Fire Emblem Heroes is just chugging along. 11 days ago, it had finally made $1 billion.
Damn, dude.
But I mean, how many years has it been out?
It's been 5 years, maybe.
So it took them a while to get there.
But that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It didn't cost them that much to make it.
Yeah, and it's the only Nintendo mobile game that had hit that mark. Mario Kart Tour was the next best, and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which looking at this article, had made somewhere around 282 million globally since their launch. Dragalia was actually behind them. It was only made at 168 million.
Oh, that's surprising me. This far behind us.
Mario Run only made it, and Mario Run 87, and Dr. Mario World made 14.
Yeah, those make sense, especially Mario Run, where they just sold it. Yeah. I liked Mario Run a lot, but that's not how mobile games work.
Just you think about like how did it? It's a fun game, but how do you make money on it? Really,
exactly. Yep.
And that's where I'm like, Fire Emblem Heroes. There's a direct way to make money there. Like that gacha mechanic for new characters. That's a big draw for characters. That's the thing with it. It's like that's a big draw, and that can bring in a lot of money. I mean, even free to play PC games, that happens a lot.
Yep.
So makes sense. It's the only one really going now.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, cool, it's fine. We'll just let that Fire Emblem thing make us some money.
Well, and it does the same thing you said about Diablo, where it guarantees in some way that Fire Emblem is going to keep going. As we're seeing, they've got there are rumors that there's a new Fire Emblem game, not a Heroes or not a Warriors game, but just a regular one already in the can, ready to go at some point. So speaking of, if you want to transition to what we've been playing, Fire Emblem Three Houses is fucking great.
Is it?
Oh my god, I have put probably 4 hours into it in the past 3 days or so. Just playing at night while we're watching watching sports or whatever. Man, god damn it, it's good. I'm regretting putting it down because I'm like, okay, what was I doing? Who am I? Who do I care about? But I automated the part of the game that was a slog for me, which was the teaching part. I did not want to do that, and I just had to do it for me. I was like, you know what, whatever. They'll make good choices for me. If they don't, they won't. Whatever. And then I'm just starting to, try to build relationships with characters in the monastery, some of the other teachers or whatever. Because I know at some point there's a time skip, and I need to have people on my side before there's a time skip. Otherwise, they will be on not my side after the time skip, I think. So I'm just doing my best to recruit people. So
it's a worthwhile thing to do. And really, the teaching part is honestly, of all the stuff, is a pretty small part of the overall gameplay. Because of the talking to characters and doing the battles is like the main thing.
Yeah, I've been taking people out to tea, been making dinner for folks. It's been good.
Choose your waifu.
Yeah, but so this feels weird to me, and I think I've mentioned this before. Obviously, who are you choosing your waifu from?
Actually, is it from the? It's from the students.
Yeah, that's a problem. That is just like, I took some out to tea today, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Some of these questions are like, some of these conversation topics are like, hey, so what do you think about us? Like, this is my fucking student. What is happening here? This is not.
Well, because you yourself as a professor aren't really that old. You're like student age.
I know.
Like, you're just like weirdly put in a place of being like, you did good. Teach them now. And you're like, okay. Like, why not?
Just the power dynamics are such in real life. I just can't do this. I'm role playing here. I don't want to role play that part. I'm gonna have not a waifu. I'm gonna be a single dude. But I feel like the tea time and like to recruit people or whatever, like you naturally veer toward romantic stuff.
Yep.
Probably.
Yep.
So I'm just fucked.
You are. Just get uncomfortable. Just enjoy it. Just roll around in it.
Oh my god! I guess that's what's gonna. But I'm super enjoying it. So I've been playing that, and then alternating that with I finished up Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I have one trophy left to get the platinum, and it's just a very weird random one where you're supposed to reflect shots back with your shield to kill the enemy. And I had to level up the shield to level 5, and I never used that weapon because I never used the shield. So now I've got to level that up and then get that trophy to pop, and then I will platinum it, and then I will be done. And it has been a fun ride. Last night, the final boss took me probably 3 times, and by the time I did not realize it. By the time I was done, I could not unclench my left hand from the controller. I had pressed it against my leg while I was holding. It was like really intense, and I was like, "Oh my god, my hand's cramping." Jesus. But I was wondering, in that battle, I started thinking, is there a practice from the developer side where, let's say it's a final boss, and the player confronts the final boss, plays, gets wiped? Is there some sort of algorithm in the back end that, like, increases your damage or reduces the enemy's damage or whatever just slightly, so the next time you play it's a little easier?
If they want there to be one.
Yeah. Is that a common thing, or is that
I don't know.
Not, okay.
I think it's pretty well, I wouldn't say it's completely uncommon, but usually they're pretty clear about that having kind of a invisible like difficulty system in there. Okay. We had one on Bookworm. Bookworm Ventures had one.
Oh, interesting.
Where if you got, it would it was like if you lost to the same thing like 2 times in a row, it would behind the scenes reduce the amount of damage the enemy did or increase yours by like a half a heart. Or something like that. It was barely, and then as you won things, that would go away. Yeah. Peggle had one as well. Like, that's common in the casual games. Peggle had a thing that through the early levels somewhere, and it would get tuned down. It was a floating value that could go away, and it did, where your shots would be somewhat improved. Like it would do like 100 calculations on variations of where you clicked the mouse pointer, where the ball was going, and it would do adjustments that were imperceivable to the eye, but would make for a better shot.
Yeah,
that would go away as the game would go, as you went further into the game.
And I don't think Ratchet and Clank was doing this because as you play something, the second time you play it, you know the patterns better, and the third time you play it, I beat on the third time like pretty handily, and I was like, that got easier very quickly. I'm like, okay, it's probably just me, and my crampy hand. But man, that game was fucking great. It's just Pixar, I feel like Ratchet and Clank is kind of the same every time. There's not a lot of I don't know, the Rift thing was kind of cool. Like the ability of the PS5 to kind of switch like where you are, the location, like in an instant, felt really cool.
Yeah.
But overall, it felt like Ratchet and Clank 2016 in terms of gameplay and switching to different weapons, and everything felt the same. But good, felt good. I really, really enjoyed it, and I plan on platinuming it tonight.
Nice.
And then waiting. Then I'm going to be in a waiting period because the next game I want to play is Stray. I did upgrade my PS Plus so I can get ready for Stray next Tuesday. So gonna probably just play a couple, or probably play Fire Emblem. To be honest, play something that I haven't played or that I've already been playing, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then we've been playing more not Fire Emblem, Triforce Heroes.
Okay.
My daughter is getting really good at figuring out the visual puzzles. Like, oh, Dad, there's one of the torches isn't lit. We need to light the torch. Oh, okay. How do you want to do that? And she's like, I'm not sure. So I think a couple things. And I was like, oh, why don't you try a bomb? And we spend about 5 minutes like lining up a bomb, and bomb doesn't work. And she's like, Dad, we just need to use an arrow, shoot it through the other fire, and then I'll light that one. It's like, oh yeah, yes, that's it. That's the answer. She's always been good at Zelda games for some reason. Whenever we play, like, I don't know why Zelda puzzles always just vex me, but often she's like, Dad, just do this thing, and I do it, and I'm like, oh, that was it. That was the solution. Thank you. She's really perceptive.
Need the mind of a child. The more straightforward, not like thinking at like 4D chess puzzle level. It's like, no, Zelda puzzles are very straightforward most of the time.
Yes. She was like, just get in the water and swim. I was like, I didn't know I could go in the water.
Well, I didn't.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got it going on.
Nice.
So that's been fun. That's all we've been playing.
I've just was playing some Monster Hunter. Not playing nearly as much this week. I've been getting prepped for Game Jam week.
Oh yeah.
Not actually working on anything yet, but mostly going like, wow, I have a lot of like random game prototypes I've made. Let me consolidate some of this code because I'm going to reuse some of it because I've made different systems and I'm like, oh, I can use that. That's cool. Just core things that you just like utility type stuff when making a game that you don't think about, but speeds up the process of getting to your idea. Like, So I've been going through my back catalog of prototypes and side projects I've worked on and messing with that. And then, yeah, beyond that, I've just been Monster Hunter, and I'm almost to Master Rank 4, which is... So I'm just past halfway point in Sunbreak. And I've had some challenging fights. I hadn't died, but I got to one monster, and it's a Master Rank version of a monster I've fought in Base Rise. They changed it, and it punished me hard for my natural reactions to how I want to fight this thing. Oh, I failed that so fast.
And you're with your friends, or are you by yourself?
Just by myself.
Oh yeah, okay.
I have to do it with friends at some point, but man, they definitely made this monster just punish your typical playstyle of being like, oh, the thing I normally do using my wire bugs to get to safety. Yeah, don't do that. That's going to be bad. This thing will just intercept me in the air after it knocks me up. Cool.
You're making me change my playstyle.
Yep. Oh, it's such a insanely deep game, though. These fights, the Master Rank fights are intense.
Are you playing on Switch, by the way?
Yeah, Switch.
Oh, okay. And it plays
it plays like the original. Generally,
okay.
It can hold the 30 frames per second. It looks a little bit muddy. I see videos of it playing on PC, and I'm like, I kind of want to play this on PC, but I don't want to replay everything.
Yeah,
and then the group that I was playing with, did a lot of chatting on like, okay, where do we want to play it? And for different reasons of like how they're playing, they need to stay on Switch. So, guess playing it on Switch. And honestly, most people that I know at work that are playing are doing it on Switch as well. So, there's just something about the portability of it, really. And there's not cheating, because the PC version of multiplayer has a lot of cheating going on.
That sucks.
Because there's no, Capcom doesn't do anything to like check your gear or anything, so people can mod their gear so their weapon is dealing like 99999 damage when they hit.
Yeah.
And the online's like, cool, whatever. So I've heard numbers of stories of people just going out, getting in teams, and then one person just goes up and one-shots the monster, and everyone's done. It's, I guess, great for farming and being quick, but if you actually want to play the game, kind of bad.
Yeah, it's very boring.
Yeah, so...
Game-breaking bullshit.
I haven't heard that really happening on Switch, so... Because, speaking of jailbreaking the video this week, you would need jailbreak stuff on the Switch to be able to inject that kind of cheating into the game. And if you're jailbreaking Switch, you don't want that to connect to Switch Online.
It is kind of one of the nice things about a walled garden, is that cheating kind of stays out.
It does, for the most part. You have to, like, it makes it so hard, it's just not even worth it. So, but that's really all I've been playing. I'm thinking if there's anything else. No, that really is it. It's just Monster Hunter and then prepping for Game Jam.
Sounds like a full week, though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Monster Hunter can take all sorts of time. I think I have 160 or 170 hours in Rise at this point.
Jesus Christ! Wow, that's getting your money's worth.
The time adds up in that game in Monster Hunter so fast. Yeah, it's a fun time. I'm curious where they go with Monster Hunter here. Next, I assume it's going to be a World 2 or whatever the next PS5, like next gen version of the game will be.
Seems like a pivot to an IP that they've had. World seems the most in reach. It did so well for them.
It did. If they call it World, who knows if they'll call it World or they'll just call it, because they've stopped using numbers in the titles, because we've had Monster Hunter World, now have Monster Hunter Rise, so it's probably just going to be called some Monster Hunter something.
Yeah,
but it will be for next gen current gen, whatever we want to call them right now, consoles, and it'll look really pretty, and the monsters will look incredible. But yeah, that's really my week though, and then I'm getting prepared this week to make a game.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about that, at least offline.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that goes well for you.
That should be fun.
Well, okay. Well, that was episode 345 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Please rate us on your podcast service of choice, and remember, we're donating $1 for every download of the podcasts that come out this month to reproductive autonomy charities. So please tell a friend, a couple of friends, to grab their devices and download it on their devices. We're got a good amount of money headed that way so far, and it's only July 10th. So keep it up. And we will see you next week when we will be talking about the first-party Nintendo Direct that is happening.
Yeah, it's got to happen, right? Yes, I agree. It's going to happen.
I'm on this train. All right, folks.
All right. Later, everyone.